I'm not behind, I'm never behind, especially if time is only moving forward. But I think the power in being the Lulu is believing that you deserve better, and because of that, you are going to do better. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So I recently turned 25, and by recently I mean it was like in May, but whatever. I was reflecting on the best lessons that I had learned throughout the years, and I was also thinking of how much I really enjoy watching these type of videos. I enjoyed watching them when I was 15, when I was 20, and even now at 25, and I'm sure I'm gonna keep enjoying watching them for many years. I just think that these videos are so fun to watch. I think it's also important to note that some of these lessons will become even more valuable once you have actually experienced the mistake that have made you learn your lessons. But I also think that some of these things can be avoided, and some of these lessons can almost be virtue for your life. So without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you the 5 best lessons I've learned at 25. So I've gathered my list here, and the first one that I have for you is to be delusional. And I know we always see that the Lulu is the Salulu and everything, but I'd just like to explain to you why I believe that is so true. I think there's definitely an extent to being the Lulu. Of course, you have to assess your current situation and be realistic about how much Delulu-ness you can have. Like, for example, if someone believes that they can fly, they're probably wrong. Although I have seen some crazy reels of a man that just, I think it was free flying or something. Anyways, I was traumatized. I would never do this in my life. But you could, I definitely believe that this concept of being the Lulu can be kind of a slippery slope, because you can also delude yourself that you're gonna gain success without doing anything towards it. But I think the power in being the Lulu is believing that you deserve better, and because of that, you are going to do better. For example, when I was in my early 20s, I was not making the salary I wish I was making. And I had jobs, and they were great jobs, but I just felt like I was almost being underused. And I looked at another career that I really wanted to do, and I was just looking at the salaries, at the skills I needed to have in order to enter that career, and I deluded myself in believing I'm gonna get there. And that delusion took me far. That delusion took me through courses, it took me through interviews, it took me through applying to so many jobs, and I finally landed the job that I thought was a good fit for me at the time. And that's why I think that being the Lulu and having that growth mindset, which means that you do not believe that some people have it and some people don't. You believe that you're just like others and you can also reach your goals. You just have to put work into it. The second lesson I'm going to share with you is kind of along the same line, is to stop obsessing over your looks. And I think the keyword here is obsessing, because of course, just like anyone else, I'm also insecure at times, and I also nitpick things about myself. But I think I really learned to call myself out when I'm becoming obsessive, and I almost cringe now whenever I call myself out, because it's like, I don't know, let's say I'm obsessing about the way my toe looked that day, and I'm like, are you really obsessing over your toe right now? Like, how vain can you be? And I think that kind of thinking and the shame I give myself for obsessing about my looks this way has helped me tremendously. I also took this advice and kind of twisted it from other videos that I've watched, because I see a common theme in older people when they share advice is to say that, oh, like when I was in my 20s, I thought I was so ugly, I thought I was so hideous, but I was actually so pretty. Or when they have a child, that's when they realize how beautiful their features actually are. And I thought about how can I apply it now, right? And not wait for later until I learned that lesson. And I realized, hey, like, do I want to spend my 20s building a personality, building my career, building my friendships, and also building who I am inside? Or do I want to spend my 20 obsessing over my toe? And I think, by the way, there's nothing wrong with my toe. I feel like I feel like I'm really focusing on my toe right now, but that's like, it's my random example. But yeah, so I had to make that decision, and I chose to not focus on my toe and focus on other things, because the truth is, when I'm 50, I don't want the people that have known me throughout my youth and that I've known me with this face right now, I don't want the best thing for them to say about me is that I was so pretty. And honestly, if they do, I'm still gonna be flattered, but I would love for them to also mention other things about my personality, other things about my life, the adventures that we took together. I just don't want my only quality to be pretty. Now, once again, it doesn't mean that I'm better than everyone, and I do still get insecure at times, but the key word is obsessing, and the obsession has to go. I also think this obsession is fueled by social media a lot. On social media, there's so many insecurities I didn't even know people had. Like, I learn so many things. So whenever I see things like that, I actually get annoyed, because I'm like, why are you inventing problems like this? And I really think it's important to look into, hey, like, why should I be insecure about my hip dips? And the reason most often is because they want you to buy hip pads. Critical thinking, bring it back. Anyways, I would also like to highlight another advice, especially for Black women and Black girls, but it can also be applied to any other type of woman. Make sure to follow people that look like you on social media and really curate your feed, especially on social media that are more focused on aesthetics. For example, on Instagram, I follow so many Black women, and even like the Black women that I do follow, they have similar shapes than me, right? Like they're more slender, they have similar styles as me, they are sometimes a little awkward as well. Like, and I think it kind of comes with the other point that I'm making about being delusional. It's really important because sometimes I almost delude myself that, hey, like this is so normal, like everyone is like this. And I feel like doing this really helped me be more confident into who I am, because my brain just thinks it's the norm now. Of course, the other solution would also be to delete social media, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit addicted to Instagram Reels, so that's not happening anytime soon. So my next advice for you guys is to always trust your ability to move on. And I know it sounds obvious, things happen in life and everybody ends up moving on, but I really think that carrying that trust with you in everything that you do is so important, because it allows you to live things to the fullest. Whether it's this job that you're not sure you're doing really great at, whether it's a friendship that you just made and you're like, oh, I don't want to make this friend because I'm gonna move soon, I don't want to make any friends. Whether it is a romantic partner that you're like, oh, I'm not sure if I should trust them fully, because like what if they break up with me, what if they do something. I think the one thing you can always trust is your ability to move on, because the truth is you cannot control other people's action, but you can definitely control your mindset towards it. And just a fun of controlling my mindset with these things, I think it really allowed me to learn to let go of things that are outside of my control. I still struggle with this at times, but I definitely think the struggle has lessened since I've been applying this mentality to my life. I think also you can prepare for your ability to move on, right? Like it's not necessarily, or I'm just gonna go into this job, I'm just gonna go into this relationship, just trusting my ability to move on. I think there's some things that you can do. For example, at work, if you feel uncertain, the company is having cuts, like every company, even our government is having these days, you have to trust your ability to build an emergency fund that will come in handy whenever or if they lay you off. For a romantic relationship or friendships that you're not sure are gonna last, you can maybe rely on more friendships, on different types of relationship. You can rely on hobbies, and making your life fuller outside of only one person will help you tremendously with moving on. So definitely the trusting your ability to move on is important, but I also think that building a life worth moving to is important. And in that similar vein, I also wanted to add the lesson to curate who you keep around you. But I just want to have a little disclaimer first. I really do not believe in the mentality of individualism that has been rampant throughout the recent years. So many people are not really allowing others to be flawed. At the first instance of something going wrong, it's drop them. I don't want anything to do with them. They're toxic. Of course, there's levels to this, right? But let's say, I don't know, your friend kind of made a comment that made you a little bit uncomfortable once. Drop them is not always the best solution. First, you should definitely confront them about this. And then if you need to drop them, definitely drop them. I'll take it, but I definitely think like there's a lot more nuance to this drop everyone debacle that's been going on. So back to the lesson, I always say that you're kind of a mix of the 5 people around you. I think a lot of people say that. Of course, 5 is not a definite number, it can be more people, but all that to say that you are a mix and you absorb a lot from the people that you keep around you. And I think in that vein, I always like to diversify the type of people that I'm around. For example, I have some people that are really not similar to me in terms of personality, in terms of their career and what they're pursuing. They're so different from me, but there's still something in them that I find inspiring, that I find admirable, and it's also something I can learn sometimes. I also have people that fully understand me, they're so similar to me, it's like we share one brain cell, and I think these people are really reassuring to keep around. And also it's really nice to have people like this to make you feel understood. I also believe in having different people for different things, right? For example, we're going back to the corporate examples. I have friends that I really do not care about sharing my salary with, and some friends that maybe I will not share my salary with. And I believe that some of my friends I do share my salary with is also because it's beneficial for me. One of the main reasons, I talked about this point earlier about how I wanted to change careers and I just thought I wasn't making enough and I could be doing more and making more because I deluded myself into thinking that. However, I remember I had this one conversation with my friend. We were like sitting by a pool and we were both complaining about where we were. I think we were like 22 or 23. And you know, everyone has this goal. By 25, I'm going to be doing everything in life. And we were like, 25 is coming up and we are not even close to there. And I remember sharing my salary back then, and she was offended. She was offended for me, and she said, "You deserve way more." And that friend worked in HR, and I will always remember her saying this, because before that I was like, you know what, I'll take what I can get. You can pay me whatever, I'll be happy to be paid. And that's still true. I am just happy to be paid. I think it's a privilege to have a job in this economy, especially. But I also know I shouldn't settle if I don't feel like I'm being used to my fullest, or if I'm not gaining the salary that I wanted. Another example of how this lesson can be beneficial, I think I've surrounded myself with a very diversified group of people that are all on different career paths. For example, some of my friends are doing their masters, some of my friends are becoming psychologists, some of my friends are becoming doctors, some of them are becoming chefs, some of them are also in the arts or in politics, and there's others like me in corporate. And I really enjoy spending time with this diversified group of people, especially in my 20s, because I think it's so important to remember that I'm not behind, I'm never behind, especially if time is only moving forward. And I think that seeing these people with different paths is so valuable to me, because it also reminds me, hey, I can always change path. There's different possibilities in life, and there's not only one way. So once again, that's why I think it's really important to curate who you are around in your 20s. And my last advice is to lean into who you are. I think this advice is mostly for my introverts. I originally wanted to name this lesson for introverts learn how to be extroverted, but I don't think that's quite the essence of what I was trying to say. I'm an introvert. Hello, if you're another introvert. I'm more of a social introvert. I do enjoy people. I just need my battery to be recharged with alone time, and then I can go again. And I say this because I really believe that it's important to be comfortable with yourself, because that's how you're gonna find the people that are also comfortable around you. I think there's a lot of danger in trying to be someone else and not leaning into who you are, because it can really lead to burnout. And I think I've experienced that before when I was trying to be more extroverted, more fun, have more things to say. And I'm not saying I'm not like fun and have things to say at all, but I'm not gonna lie, when I meet people, my mind literally goes blank and I get so quiet. But I think it was really important for me to learn how to be comfortable with being quiet as well. I do enjoy talking, actually. I'm quite a yapper, but it definitely doesn't come easily with other people for me. And I think that having that filler personality that I was trying to be more extroverted for a certain period of my life was not beneficial for me, because then I would get back from hangouts and be exhausted. It's like I went to the set and had a whole acting career. I was still being myself, but I was not being true to myself at the moment. I know it sounds really strange what I'm saying, but for example, sometimes I meet some friends and all I want to do is talk and laugh loudly and tell jokes, and I want to have fun, and I'm feeling in that mood. Sometimes I meet friends and I really don't feel like talking, but I still want to be around them, and I'd like to be quiet. I want to listen to their conversation. But when I'm experiencing person 2 and I'm trying to be person 1, that's when I start clashing with myself and I'm not aligning anymore. So I think it's really important to lean into yourself, because I have friends that know that sometimes I'm gonna be a yapper and sometimes I'm gonna be really quiet, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I also think that there's kind of a confidence in being quiet, and there's a lot of value as well. For example, in corporate, I'm more quiet most of the time, but sometimes I have things to say, but I think it really allows me to wait my turn to speak and to really hear people out until the end of what they had to say and until the end of their opinion before my mind gets filled with other ideas. So don't worry if you're an introvert in corporate, you can always learn to be extroverted, or you can learn to really lean into your introverted flaws and turn them into qualities. So I have a bonus lesson, and it's more of an advice. Is to read this book right here. This book was recommended by one of my friends. We were having lunch on this Chinese restaurant in Montreal. She was telling me all these ideas. I think we were like 22 at the time. She was telling me all these ideas, all these visions she had for her future, and how she was going to approach life. And I was like, wow, like this girl is really thinking about what she's going to do in her 20s, while I'm standing here and like confused. And so confused, but I'm confused with purpose. This book was so great that I read it in 1 week, and now I'm like a free ambassador for it, because I recommend it to anyone in their 20s that I meet. I'm not gonna lie, this book is better if you're relatively able-bodied and also have some geographical log. So this book is really important because in the past, your 20s have been mostly for getting married, for family building, for career building, and everyone was kind of on that same path. But now most of the people are doing this in their 30s. Actually, they're getting married, they're having children, and they're buying their houses and all these big life milestones in their 30s. So what do we do with all this time, this 10 years that we just gained of being teenagers again? Well, it's not exactly that. We're not actually teenagers anymore, we're actual adults. So how can we make the most of our time? And this is what this book is about. It talks about work, about the brain, about love, and I just really hope that anyone that's in their 20s watching this video will read this book. It gives you a lot of perspective on life. So thank you for tuning in to today's video. I really hope that you enjoyed this video because I really enjoy sharing these lessons with you. If you're older or younger watching this, feel free to share some more lessons that you have in the comments because I would love to read them. And also let me know what you think of these lessons. Did you learn the same things? Do you see anything in my lessons that signals that I still have something to learn? I'm only 25, so I'll take the advice. So once again, thank you for watching, and make sure to click on the like button down below if you like this video. This will let me know if I should continue to make more of these. Thank you and have a great day. Bye.